Often I think we get involved with magic and spiritual practices with full enthusiasm, full gusto, but sometimes we can end up doing things that lead us to becoming more and more exhausted, more tired, feeling burnt out from our magical and spiritual practices, which might lead to us stopping them altogether. There's a few things that I've learned over the years that help me to keep things a bit more balanced when it comes to magic and spiritual practice. So the first one is to keep your practice simple. And simple will look different for everyone. There have been a number of times where I've gradually added more and more to my daily rituals because I want to add those things. I'm really enthusiastic about them, but then it's become too much for me. So what I've found helpful is to get really clear on what's important to me about my daily rituals. What are the things that I find make a difference? Often it's a good idea to just strip things back and add things in gradually, see if it feels sustainable over the long term, because I think that's important. If you don't feel it's going to be something you can do over the long term, it might be a good idea to rethink it, or perhaps you want to do a certain thing for a certain period of time and then change it to something else. Other things that I've done in the past have been shifted the regularity at which I do certain practices. I was doing a brief devotion to my ancestors every day at one point, and then I decided that it just felt too much on top of everything else. So now I do a brief devotion on a Saturday. That's mine, and that feels enough for me. The second one might be a bit controversial, but it is don't do too much magic. So I've talked on the channel before about a book that really helped encourage me to just get out there and do magic and try things out and see what happens, and that was Alan Chapman's book Advanced Magic for Beginners. And since having that book, I have done a lot more magic. However, I've had to rein myself in a bit because I started to feel, and this is me putting expectations on myself as usual, but I started to feel I had to do a complex magical working every week. And I just don't think that's doable because the time that it would take me to research and prepare for it, make sure I had everything that I needed, it's a lot to try and cram in to get ready for that every week. And I realised I didn't have to. There are some magical practices that are much more straightforward and quicker, like sigil magic. Also trying to have a regular divination practice. I've been doing tarot for quite a few years now, but I bought myself a pendulum, so I've been trying to do that regularly. So trying to open up my magical practice, but without taking on more, if that makes sense. And so I think it's okay to step away from it or reduce the amount that you're doing to give yourself a break, and also to allow the results of what you're doing to kind of come through. Magic doesn't always happen instantaneously. Number 3 is to maintain the fundamentals. There are 2 things I do which admittedly they dropped off in the past. I mean, I think I had a good excuse. I was in hospital for my cancer treatment. I was recovering, but it took me a while, even when I probably could have started doing it again, that I didn't feel like it. I think I needed a mental break. But the 2 things that I got back into, which I feel really make a difference to me, are doing a daily banishing in the morning. I do the LBRP, and I do a 20-minute meditation in the morning. I also do a 20-minute meditation in the evening. And those things are my fundamentals. As soon as I started doing those again, I felt much calmer. I felt more settled. There are times where I don't feel like doing them. I admit that. It's a bit like exercising. There are times where I don't feel like exercising, but I do it because I know that I will feel better afterwards. And it's a bit like that with the banishing and the meditation. Sometimes I can feel, I'm just tired. I can't be bothered. But I do it. It really underpins my magical practice, so it's something that I want to keep going. If I stopped everything else, those things would stay in place. Number 4 is looking after your physical health. And it might sound strange to be talking about physical health in the context of magic, but if we remember, our physical bodies are the vehicles for our magic. So it makes sense then for us to look after them as best we can so that we can feel our best when it comes to performing magic. And these might sound really boring and straightforward, but I find that they really make a difference. So eating well, and this isn't about never eating processed foods ever again or anything like that, but I find that when I eat mainly whole foods and I'm not eating as much processed food, I feel better in myself, and I feel that other things flow out from that. So I exercise a few times a week, and I find that my exercise performance improves when I eat well. Getting enough sleep is important, and this is something I'm always trying to work on because I don't like going to bed early. I like to stay up a bit late because I can do more, but equally I do have to get up early so that I can exercise and then get ready for for work. So I guess there has to be a balance. So those are the things that I try to work on in order that I can stay mentally and physically well for performing magic. Number 5 is not disconnecting from the material world. As fun as magic can be, and as much as there are times where I feel I'd like to be in that magical world much more than the material world, we do need to keep ourselves connected with the material world because that is where we live, like it or not. Try and take yourself away from your altar. Go out in nature, meet up with people that you care about, put your full attention into the mundane things. The other day, and this is going to probably sound a bit silly, but I was washing the dishes and I put my full attention into doing it. And when I put my full attention into any mundane task I'm doing, it adds a different quality to it. It feels special. I feel gratitude that I get to be here in this material world doing this thing. I feel grateful that I even exist at all to be able to do this simple act of washing the dishes. And that leads me on to the next tip, which is practicing gratitude. Sometimes I think it can be suggested a bit flippantly, and I want to emphasize that this isn't about saying we have to just dismiss difficult feelings when our life becomes really challenging, that, oh, we should just be grateful, everything's fine, I just need to stop feeling sad or frustrated or angry. I'm not saying that at all. I think it's important that we acknowledge whatever we feel and at the same time think about what we do have rather than focusing on what we don't have. Sometimes the magic that we work, it's for things that we want that we don't have currently, and remembering that magic hopefully increases the probability that we will get the thing we want, but it doesn't guarantee it. The danger can be that if we're in a mindset of lack, that magic becomes associated with lack. I don't think it's good for us to become over-reliant on anything. So practicing gratitude and remembering what we do have keeps us in the here and now. I think it helps to keep us grounded. Let me know of any other tips that you've applied to your magic or your spiritual practices that have helped you to reduce exhaustion and burnout. I would love to hear what suggestions you've got. Take good care, be well, and I'll speak to you soon.